let's talk Ranger.
All right, so here's the thing. The last time we talked, we thought Henry was going down this super, super dark road, and he kind of did.
Yeah.
But we know now that he definitely didn't do what we thought he did. He didn't kill Gemma.
He's not a wife killer.
So is he still going to get to be a dark character in the episodes that return?
Well, this is a conversation that I just had with Nicole Snyder this morning. I called her up, and I said, what can I say and what can't I say in my interviews today?
Well, you're on video, so nothing's going to be taken out of context.
Right, which is the only thing that saved me last time. Daniel. And the thing about it is that apparently the audience loves when Henry goes dark. Like, the audience just ate it up last time. And so she was saying, I think we're gonna see Henry go into some dark places.
Okay.
So while I can't, and I'm being honest with you, like, well,
right.
I don't have any, like, hey, this happens.
Yeah.
And I'm not being coy with you. Literally, Henry is going to get dark to sort of appeal to the masses. And a few other things that happen. You know that Siobhan is coming back to New York City.
Right.
And I would think, naturally, if Siobhan has such a strong tie to Henry, that eventually there's the potential for meeting. But what's interesting about that is, will Henry know that he's talking to Siobhan, or will he think he's talking to Chevette?
True.
And how will he deal with that?
True.
And if he talks to both of them, like, and one's hot and one's cold, like, what will that dynamic be like?
Okay.
And Henry also, in this coming up half season, in the first season, he unwittingly and unwillingly is pulled in to bring his father-in-law into business with Andrew and Olivia.
Okay.
And so you'll see how that develops, because there's a storyline where Gregory Harrison.
Nice.
He's
yeah,
a
that's
cool
cool.
guy. Yeah, he plays my father-in-law, and he comes into play. And it's interesting to see, like, you watch it, like, what he knows and what he doesn't know. There's a lot of, it's fun because you never really know, as an actor, but also as the audience, who is exactly who,
right,
and what is exactly what. And I will say that, Siobhan's return to New York City sort of upsets everything that we've established in the first half of the season.
Well, what's interesting about that, in the beginning of the season, Eric and Nicole were saying at the center of the story is supposed to be the love story between Henry and Siobhan. And I feel we've gotten away from that simply because we haven't seen Siobhan that much. But if she's coming back, I would imagine that there's potential for that.
Yeah, no, there definitely is. And I also think, though, that the love story between Bridget and Andrew came as a surprise to the writers as much as it did to the audience. But you guys, the fans, have been Team Andrew to such a degree that, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's begun
but
to
they're
write
two
itself
separate women. So you're not necessarily Team Andrew versus Team Henry.
We
haven't
but wouldn't
seen...
it be interesting if Henry, Bridget, all of a sudden...
Is that happening? Is that what you're telling me?
I'm not telling you anything. I'm just saying...
It would be interesting if...
Wouldn't it be interesting?
Of course it would be. There are a lot of things on the show that, you obviously think it's going one way and then they go a different way. Now we know for sure Gemma is dead. When does Henry know for sure Gemma is dead and he gets to actually mourn her?
When we come back, we're 6 weeks down the road.
Okay.
So when we come back January 31st, Tuesday nights, 9 o'clock on the CW, the world of Ringer is established that Gemma's dead. The mourning process has begun, and you're in it, and you'll see Henry grieve, and that's a big part of his initial, entry back.
So he's not a suspect anymore. That is dead. Okay. Does that mean that there's no room for you and Nestor to kind of mix it up in another way?
No, there is, yeah.
Okay. Want to tell me a little bit about that?
All I'll say about that is I did a scene with Nestor. He's a great guy.
Okay. Well, all the feedback I get, the fans, they feel like you guys are kind of underused. And they said, wouldn't it be great if you use them together?
Yeah.
And now it's the fact of how.
It's hard because it's how. Our worlds are so different. It's almost like there's different genres within one show.
Yeah.
And you have an FBI, mystery, very technical, very, information heavy. And then Henry is very much, it's not soapy, but it's a different texture altogether.
Well, yeah.
It's
and it's
it's
not
more
like...
about emotional, it's more about a romantic drama than
Right.
it is, you know, who did it, or what's, so Machado's driven.
Right.
Like, he's a driven man. He's got to get what he wants, which is Bridget to testify, to be able to put this other guy away. Whereas Henry is, like, he's a romantic, and he's sort of like, but yeah, I mean, I agree. I think, I think that there could be, here's the thing about Henry. I think that the die has not been yet cast on who he is.
Okay.
And because he's been saved a little bit, if the show were to go a second season, you have the wealth of these characters that you haven't yet gotten tired of. And it's happened. I mean, there was a season of Gossip Girl where Ed Westwick was, literally not in certain episodes.
Right.
And he was a really enjoyable character. So if you start thinking about it in long term, you realize, I think they know, obviously what they have in the actors. And
I was gonna say, are
know
you
what
trying
they
to tell
have.
me you're not in every episode when you come back? Is that
No,
what
I'm-
you're? Okay.
Contractually, they're stuck with me. Sorry, guys.
Because I was like, that's not a development that we
No.
want to know. Okay.
Sorry, guys. I'm in every
No,
episode.
that's a good thing.
My agent did his job. No, Henry's in.
Okay. And
But what I'm saying about that is,
Right.
we've seen in the past in shows that we've loved,
Right.
where characters, their storylines ebb and flow,
Right.
and you're always going to watch Sarah's characters because she's the two main
Right.
characters of the show. But then as far as the men are concerned, there's going to be an ebb and flow, and I think they found something in Andrew's character and in that relationship that they maybe didn't necessarily meditate on having when they got started, but when they discovered that they had it, they explored it. But then in exploring that, it's going to come to a natural conclusion, which is going to leave the field open for Henry, it's going to leave the field open for Machado, it's going to leave the field open for other characters that are going to come in.